The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Prominent businessman Damian Laing, one of two on alleged weapons and ammunition charges. One firearm user's license, 27 assorted firearms, and 800 rounds of assorted ammunition were seized and two men arrested during an intelligence-led anti-crime operation conducted in the Southern Division between Friday 24th of June 2022 and Tuesday 28th of June 2022, related to an alleged illegal firearm transfer. Damian Laing, a 43-year-old businessman of Mayaro and also of Block 2, Palmist, San Fernando, who was charged with transferring firearm and ammunition, is scheduled to appear at the San Fernando Magistrates Court today. Meanwhile, Brian Lendor, a 26-year-old driver of Mayaro, who was charged with possession of a firearm and ammunition and resisting arrest, appeared at the San Fernando Magistrates Court yesterday. Lendor pleaded guilty to the charges and was denied bail and remains in custody. The matter was postponed to July 20th, 2022. According to police reports, on Friday, 24th of June 2022, the Southern Division Operation and Intelligence Unit, along with members of the Southern Division Task Force, proceeded to a restaurant located at the South Park, San Fernando, where extensive surveillance was paid to patrons at the said establishment. A male patron was arrested and subsequently charged for being in possession of a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard .380 pistol and 7 rounds of .380 ammunition. The 26-year-old driver is not the holder of a firearm user's license or a firearm user's employee certificate. As a result of that arrest, a meticulous and coordinated investigation was led by Inspector Phillip and Sergeant Wilkinson of the Southern Division Criminal Investigation Department, CID, into its ownership of the aforementioned firearm and ammunition. This resulted in the arrest of a second suspect, Damian Laing, who was subsequently charged by Sergeant Wilkinson for the offense of transferring the said firearm and ammunition to Brian Lendor, his driver. Further investigations resulted in the FUL and quantities of assorted firearms and assorted ammunition being found and seized at the home of a relative of one of the accused. The exercise was coordinated by Senior Superintendent Winchester, ASP Jackaran, and Inspector Phillip, and supervised by Sergeant Williams and Sergeant Wilkinson, and executed by officers of the Southern Division Operations and Intelligence Unit. Mother dies defending her daughter from ex-boyfriend. Police have launched a manhunt for the suspect in the homicide of a 53-year-old mother of two. The suspect also injured the woman's 21-year-old daughter, who remains hospitalized in critical condition. Despite searches by the police at the house in coal mine Sangre Grande, the suspect was on the run up to late yesterday. Police said that at around 6:50 p.m. on Monday, Tricia Badaloo was at home in the bathroom when she was attacked and several times by the man who is known to her 21-year-old daughter Taylor Benson and the family. The man eventually turned his attention to her daughter and began her too. Police said Badaloo managed to run behind the attacker and stood in front of the door to prevent her daughter from being further attacked. The daughter managed to escape after receiving several and ran out of the house onto the road screaming for help before she eventually fell to the ground. She was able to give the name of the suspect to the police before she lost consciousness and was rushed to the Sangre Grande hospital. Another team went inside and saw Badaloo lying on the floor. An ambulance was called, but she could not be resuscitated. A district medical officer declared Badaloo dead. Investigators suspect that the perpetrator was known to Benson. A relative, who requested anonymity, said Badaloo fought with her perpetrator to give her daughter a chance to escape. Tricia was someone who stood up for her daughter. If you watch inside the house, everything indicates she gave a fight for her daughter and stopped this man in front of the house before bleeding right out there. She died saving her daughter, and I feel her mother would do that. The relatives said the authorities should have warned Badaloo and her daughter that the man was being released from prison, as it could have saved their lives. Nobody is letting victims of crimes know when perpetrators are being released. How come we're not doing anything about that? If someone had only called Taylor a little bit earlier, I'm sure relatives would have known to check in here and make sure everything is all right. Relatives reported that the 21-year-old lost one of her hands and also suffered several wounds to her body. She underwent emergency surgery and was said to be in critical condition, battling for life. Relatives also reported that the suspect, who lived with his relative at coal mine Sangre Grande, was recently released from prison for good behavior after serving a 4-year jail term for assaulting the 21-year-old victim. Police said while they informed people of possible threats to their lives, lapses in communication made it difficult to warn people in time. It is not customary to inform people if someone is being released from prison. If we get the information in time, we will give them a notification, and certainly if we know that someone's life is in danger, we will have an obligation to let them know. But sometimes there are lapses in communication, and sometimes we may not even be aware if the person got bail. Police said the wanted man was captured on CCTV footage leaving the Badaloos' house after committing the crime. Investigators are using this to assist with their probe. One officer said the police in the Eastern Division and the Homicide Bureau of Investigations Region 2 were working hard to find the perpetrator. Relatives of Benson said she once had a relationship with the suspect, which they claim turned violent and resulted in her suffering several injuries to her body. They claimed it escalated to the point where Benson had to be hospitalized after she was beaten. Police later intervened, and relatives said this was what led to the suspect being jailed for 4 years. However, relatives said the suspect was released without the Badaloos' knowledge, and the suspect planned his revenge on the mother and daughter. One relative said her daughter is in serious condition but had regained consciousness after the incident on Tuesday morning. She said relatives were unsure how to tell her about her mother's death. Taylor is lying down there right now and they cannot even tell her. She's talking a little bit now, but no one is saying anything. Her father, who resides in the United States, has reportedly been told of the incident. Badaloo was employed to the Caribbean Communications Network as the group's procurement associate and had been with the company since 2008. Teenager succumbs to injuries 3 days after Gasparillo fire. Kimberly Chattergoon, the teenager who was severely burnt in Saturday's deadly fire, has succumbed to her injuries at the San Fernando General Hospital. The 16-year-old girl had been in the intensive care unit since Saturday, after she was rescued from the fire, which erased 5-year-old Amy Chattergoon, grandmother Evelina Miller, 73, and Lakeisha Grant, 21, who was pregnant with her first child. Relative Rona Charles said yesterday that the family was distraught over Kimberly's death. The family has received help from the Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church, as well as from friends and neighbors. However, they are still in dire need of help to rebuild their home. Amy's father, Wilfred Chattergoon, also begged members of the public to stop sharing the video of his daughter, calling out for help during the fire. He is deeply disturbed by the video and said the people who recorded the video and shared the video are causing them even more distress. The fire started at around 2:15 a.m. at Caratal Road, Gasparillo. Relative Nikita Baptiste started smelling smoke and saw flames leaping from a room upstairs. Baptiste started to evacuate her relatives as the flames wildly spread. Grant's boyfriend, Trey, tried to get her out of the house, but she turned back to retrieve something and then became trapped inside. Officers led by ASP Gould, Sergeant Mungru, Corporal Johnson, and PC Boodram are continuing investigations.
Well, we had a tragic incident today which occurred about 2 o'clock this morning, right? Well, I lost my mother, as you could see in the background, I lost my whole house and we lost everything. I lost my mother, I lost my little daughter, five years old, right? My mother was 72 years of age. I lost my mother perished in the fire. My nephew, girlfriend, Tricia, I think she was about 22 or 20 something. I think she was pregnant and all. She perished in the fire with her baby in her belly.
Anyone wanting to assist the family can make donations to Chattagoo's First Citizens Bank account. Account number 2594621.